Welcome to our deep dive. We're tackling Peter Thiel's 0 to 1 today.
Yeah, pulling out insights on building those companies that really, change the future.
Not just like copying what everyone else is doing.
Right, exactly.
So we're going straight to the source.
Yeah, excerpts from the book itself.
That's right, straight from the horse's mouth.
And Thiel, he starts off with a question, it's a tough one.
Oh, here we go.
What's a truth, he asks. What important truth do very few people agree with you on?
Ooh, that's a good one.
It's like he's pushing us to, think differently, to challenge those assumptions.
Get outside that echo chamber.
Exactly, and to unearth those kind of hidden gems of insight.
So it's like, if everyone's nodding along to what you're saying, you're probably not on to anything truly groundbreaking.
Exactly right. It's like, if everyone agrees, you might want to rethink things.
Yeah.
And he uses this to highlight one of his core beliefs, and it's a bit controversial.
Lay it on me.
He believes that technology, more so than globalization, is the real driver of progress.
I can see where he's going, but that on the surface, that sounds crazy.
Right. In our world, it's all about global connections.
Hyper-connected.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. But Thiel argues that just spreading existing ideas around, it doesn't create that radically better future.
I see his point.
Yeah.
Just doing more of the same, even if it's on a global scale, isn't enough.
Yeah.
We need those 0 to 1 leaps, those innovations that create entirely new categories, right?
Exactly. And to illustrate this, he digs into his own experience, particularly his time at PayPal during the dot-com bubble.
Well, the dot-com bubble, yeah.
And, everyone remembers those lessons learned from that era.
Don't overspend, right?
No.
Focus on small steps, that kind of thing.
Exactly. Avoid big plans, focus on incremental progress. But Thiel, he says those are actually misinterpretations.
Okay, so he's going against the grain here.
Yeah.
It's like the whole world learned one lesson and he learned a different one.
He did. He absolutely did.
Okay, I'm intrigued.
He says that crash, it scared everyone into playing it safe.
Right. Everyone got risk averse.
Yeah, when maybe, just maybe, the real lesson was boldness.
Even with a flawed plan, being bold is better than
just timidly following the crowd.
Okay, I think I'm starting to see how this connects to that opening question about unique truths.
Yeah.
It's like he's saying, don't be afraid to be wrong, don't be afraid to take risks, and don't be afraid to think differently.
Precisely. And that leads us to, this is a big one, another one of Thiel's controversial idea.
Okay, hit me.
He claims monopoly isn't inherently a bad thing.
Whoa, hold on.
Yeah.
Isn't competition like the backbone of capitalism?
That's what we're all taught, right?
Monopolies stifle innovation. They hurt the consumer, right?
That's the traditional view, yeah.
But he's flipping the script.
He argues that.
Yeah.
That actually intense competition can lead to this race to the bottom.
Oh, I see. Like everyone's just trying to undercut each other?
Yeah. And in that race, companies, they lose sight of creating innovative, truly innovative products.
So instead of trying to be, 1% better than 100 competitors,
right?
Thiel, he wants you to create something so unique and valuable
neat.
that you become the only game in town.
Exactly. Think about Google. They dominate search, right?
Yeah, they're practically a verb at this point.
Exactly. And they didn't get there by crushing the competition. They built a search engine so good that everyone else was playing catch up.
So a monopoly, it can actually be a sign of innovation, not a threat to it.
Exactly. But of course, there's a caveat.
Of course, there's always a catch.
Right. Thiel acknowledges monopolies can be harmful.
Like if they just rest on their laurels, right?
Yeah, if they use their dominance to stifle progress, that's not what he's advocating.
They have to keep innovating.
They do.
Using their resources to push boundaries.
Exactly. They've earned the right to be the dominant player.
Yeah.
But they have a responsibility to keep pushing the envelope, not to get lazy.
Okay, I see.
And to understand why Thiel's so obsessed with these dominant companies, we need to dive into this key concept, and this is a big one. It's the power law.
Okay, the power law, that sounds kind of intimidating.
It's actually a pretty simple idea.
Okay.
But it has huge implications for anyone building a company.
All right, I'm ready. Lay it on me.
The power law, it states that a small number of things, it could be companies, investments, even music hits, they radically outperform all the others.
So it's like that 80-20 rule.
Yeah, but even more extreme.
Where just a tiny fraction
of the input generates the majority of the results.
I'm starting to see where this is going.
Yeah.
If you're a founder.
Yes.
This means it might actually be more valuable to join the best company than start your own.
That's a tough pill to swallow for some entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
It's not that starting your own company is a bad idea,
Ah.
but in a power law world, it's got to be strategic.
Got to pick your battles.
You do.
So how do you even spot these companies, with that kind of potential?
That's where secrets come in. Thiel believes truly valuable companies are built on insights that most people just don't see.
So are we talking like corporate espionage?
No, not like, secret agent stuff.
Okay.
It's about seeing what everyone else is looking at, but thinking differently. We got to be actively searching for these secrets.
They could be hiding in plain sight.
They could be. In unconventional data, customer behavior, maybe even areas everyone else thinks are boring.
So if these secrets are the key to building these groundbreaking companies,
Yeah.
why aren't more people looking for them?
Well, Thiel says it's human nature.
Okay.
We're wired to avoid risk. We cling to what we know.
Right. That if it was a good idea, someone would have done it already mentality.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what stops us from finding those 0 to 1 opportunities.
So it's fear.
In a way.
Fear of being wrong, fear of the unknown.
Exactly.
So let's say you found a secret. You've got this truth that nobody else sees. What do you do with it?
Good question. There's a sweet spot between telling no one and telling everyone.
Okay, so it's a balancing act.
It is.
You have to be strategic about who you share this with.
You do.
People who can help turn it into something real.
Exactly. It's about finding that right balance between protecting your idea
Right.
and sharing it with the people who can actually make it happen.
Okay, so you've got your secret, you've got your team, now you've got to build the company.
Right.
What's Thiel's advice for building a company that's actually going to stand the test of time?
He has this thing. He calls it Thiel's Law, and it's pretty straightforward.
Oh, here we go.
He says a startup, if it's messed up at its foundation, it can't be fixed.
Oh, that sounds kind of ominous.
It's a pretty stark statement.
Yeah.
But he's basically saying, there are some non-negotiables.
The things you absolutely have to nail from day one.
You got it.
Okay, what are they?
Well, number one, he starts with choosing your co-founders.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. The people you start with.
He says it's like getting married,
Yeah.
Founder conflict, it can be brutal, like divorce.
Yeah, you're in the trenches with these people.
Exactly. So finding the right partners from the start is absolutely crucial.
Okay, so what are we looking for in a potential co-founder?
It's more than just skills, right? You need someone who shares your vision,
But also
complements your skills and your weaknesses.
you've got to have that trust.
You have to, implicitly.
Someone who challenges you.
Yes. That perfect blend of shared values and complementary strengths.
It's a tall order.
It is. And once you have that team,
You got to divide and conquer, right?
clear division of labor, yes. Everyone on the founding team, they need to know their role.
No stepping on each other's toes.
No, there shouldn't be any confusion about who's responsible for what.
Okay, so that's the founding team.
Right.
What about the board of directors? Big, impressive group. Or small and tight-knit?
Thiel believes in keeping it small.
Small, huh?
Yeah, ideally 3 people, never more than 5.
Why so small? I would think more people means more perspectives.
It's about being agile.
Oh, okay.
Smaller board, more responsive, can make decisions faster.
Less bureaucracy.
Exactly. Plus, even one bad board member, Thiel says, can cause a ton of problems.
So it's quality over quantity?
Absolutely.
Each board member needs to bring serious value.
They do. Now, beyond the board, Thiel's adamant that everyone on the team, everyone needs to be fully invested in the company's mission.
Not just there for the paycheck.
Exactly.
All rowing in the same direction.
He even says anyone who doesn't own stock options or isn't drawing a salary, they're fundamentally misaligned.
Interesting.
Their incentives aren't tied to the company's success.
Right.
So they're more likely to prioritize short-term gains over the big picture.
They're not really on the bus, so to speak.
Exactly.
This brings up a tricky question.
Yeah, what's that?
How do you decide who gets what when it comes to equity?
Oh, that's a tough one, especially as a company grows.
It's a potential minefield.
It can be.
Jealousy, resentment, all that.
Thiel admits there's no way to be perfectly fair.
Right.
But he suggests starting with a generous equity pool for that founding team.
Okay. Reward those who take the initial risk.
Yes, and then use a vesting schedule.
Yeah, okay.
To reward early employees who, are taking on more risk.
Makes sense.
And he cautions against being too transparent about equity stakes.
Why is that?
It can just create unnecessary tension.
Right. So find a system that's fair.
Yes.
Rewards contributions.
Yeah.
But don't make it a source of gossip.
Exactly.
So what was it actually like, the culture at PayPal? Did Thiel practice what he preaches?
From what he writes, it sounds like it was an intensely passionate group of people.
Right, right. They all believed in what they were doing.
They did. They truly believed they were building something revolutionary.
That's the PayPal mafia everyone talks about, right?
That's okay.
They went on to do such incredible things.
Yeah. And Thiel says it wasn't just about hiring brilliant people.
It was about the right kind of brilliant people.
Yes. People who enjoyed working together, who shared that common vision, and who were willing to, put in the hours.
So forget ping pong tables and free snacks.
He's saying the real draw for top talent is the opportunity to do meaningful work.
Right.
Alongside amazing people.
It's about building something that matters.
It is.
Okay, so we've got the secrets, we've got the team, we've got the culture.
Yeah.
What about the product itself?
That brings us to a critical element.
Uh-oh.
One that's often overlooked, especially in Silicon Valley.
All right, what is it?
Distribution.
Distribution.
He says it's about way more than just sales.
Okay, so is he talking about marketing, getting the product in front of the right people, building a brand?
It's everything. Everything involved in getting your product into the hands of customers.
Okay.
And he challenges this myth.
What myth?
The myth that great products sell themselves.
Oh, right, right.
Even the most brilliant product, he says, will fail if it doesn't reach the right people.
So you could build a better mousetrap.
Yeah.
But if nobody knows it exists, it's useless.
Exactly. Silicon Valley, he argues, is obsessed with building cool stuff.
Right.
But they often underestimate the importance of selling it.
The less glamorous side of things.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He highlights a few different channels: personal sales, advertising, viral marketing.
Okay.
But he's adamant that one channel usually dominates.
So it's about figuring out which path works best for you.
Exactly.
And going all in on that.
Yeah, don't try to do everything at once.
Focus, focus, focus.
Yes. So let's start with personal sales.
Okay, personal sales, what's Thiel's take on that?
He says they're crucial for those high-priced products or services.
Yeah, the ones that require more, hands-on approach.
Exactly. More consultative.
Okay.
But it's not just about closing deals.
It's got to be more than that.
You need a sales team that's knowledgeable, passionate about the company.
So you're not just selling a product, you're selling the vision.
Yes. And they need to be laser-focused on the right customer.
Not just spraying and praying.
Not at all, no.
Okay, what about marketing and advertising? Where do those fit in?
He sees those as effective for reaching a mass audience.
Yeah, okay.
But he cautions against over-reliance on them, especially for startups.
Why is that?
They can be expensive, difficult to measure.
Right, and if you're a young company, resources are limited.
Exactly. So you need to be more targeted, more cost-effective.
So things like public relations, content marketing.
Exactly. Or building a community around your product.
Right. Word of mouth.
And that brings us to, the holy grail of distribution, according to Thiel.
Let me guess.
What is it?
Viral marketing.
You got it. Where your product spreads like wildfire.
The dream.
But he's quick to point out, creating a viral product, it's not easy.
Of course not. Everyone would be doing it if it were easy.
Exactly. Your product, it has to be inherently shareable.
Right. It has to have the got to tell my friends factor.
It does. He uses PayPal's early referral program as an example.
Oh, yeah. They were paying people to sign up.
They were, and to refer others.
Clever.
It was.
Okay, so we've talked about attracting customers.
Right.
But distribution, it's also about attracting employees, investors.
Yeah, even the media.
It's about selling your vision to the world.
Exactly. You need a clear, compelling narrative.
And a strong reputation.
Absolutely. You got to build that brand.
Okay, so all of this is about the present and sort of the near future.
Yeah.
What about, way out there, the future of work itself?
Well, Thiel, he doesn't shy away from that.
Does he think robots are taking our jobs?
He has a more nuanced perspective, I'd say.
Okay, good, because I kind of like my job.
He believes computers are tools.
Tools, oh.
Tools that can enhance our capabilities.
Not replace us?
Not entirely, no.
Phew.
He's not buying into that mass unemployment fear. He argues the most valuable businesses, they're going to be the ones that empower people.
Not make them obsolete.
Exactly. He sees computers as complements to human skills, not substitutes.
So we should be thinking about how we work alongside them.
Exactly.
Not just fearing them.
And computers, they're great at tasks that require brute force calculation, data processing.
But they still struggle with, creativity and judgment.
And social intelligence.
Things that are uniquely human.
Exactly.
Like that Google experiment where they tried to get a computer to identify cats.
I remember that.
It took millions of images.
Millions.
For 75% accuracy.
And a human child can do it, like, instantly.
Exactly.
So it highlights this fact that humans and computers, we have different strengths.
Yeah.
And the most powerful solutions, they come from combining those strengths.
It's not an us versus them situation.
Not at all. Now, to illustrate how these good intentions can go wrong, Thiel looks at the clean tech bubble in the early 2000s.
The clean tech bubble.
Yeah. It's a bit of a cautionary tale.
It's not that clean tech is a bad idea.
No, not at all.
But a lot of companies, they made some big mistakes.
Yeah.
And it led to their downfall.
Exactly. He argues that these companies, they failed to answer these 7 key questions.
7 key questions?
Yeah, for any successful business.
Okay, all right, hit me with the questions.
First, is your technology actually superior? Second, is the timing right? Third, are you building a defensible monopoly in your niche?
Okay, keep going. I'm taking notes here.
Fourth, do you have the right team in place? Fifth, is your distribution strategy effective? Sixth, is your business model built for the long haul?
Okay, I'm with you so far. What's number 7?
Seventh, do you have those unique secrets that give you an edge?
That's quite the checklist.
It is, and he uses the example of Solyndra.
Solyndra, the solar panel company.
The one that went bankrupt.
Yeah, despite all that government funding.
Right, and Thiel uses it to illustrate these points.
So what went wrong?
Well, their technology, it was flawed. They entered the market at the wrong time, failed to build a defensible monopoly, and their team, they lacked expertise.
Oh, wow. So multiple problems there.
Yeah, their distribution wasn't effective, their business model unsustainable, and they didn't have any real secrets.
It sounds like they checked every single box on the how to fail list.
They kind of did, yeah.
So even with noble goals, you still need a solid business foundation.
You do. It's a harsh lesson.
Clean tech companies take note.
Right. And then he contrasts this with Tesla.
Tesla, that's interesting.
He highlights them as a clean tech company that got it right.
Okay.
They had superior technology. The timing was perfect. They built a defensible monopoly in their niche, a strong team, effective distribution, a durable business model, and they had secrets.
So it wasn't just luck. It was a well-executed strategy.
Exactly. It proves that you can build a company that solves a big problem, creates value, and generates lasting profits.
So what about the people building these companies, the founders?
That's where Thiel gets into the founder archetype.
Oh, this should be good.
Trying to pinpoint those unique traits of successful entrepreneurs.
Are they all like eccentric geniuses?
He says they are often unconventional thinkers.
What?
With seemingly contradictory qualities.
Like what?
Well, he talks about them being both insiders and outsiders.
Okay, how do you do both of those at the same time?
Well, they often have this unique perspective. They see things others miss, and they aren't afraid to challenge the way things are.
Rebels, in a way.
Kind of, yeah.
What about charisma? Is that important?
He talks about that too.
Yeah.
But he doesn't mean, superficial charm.
Right.
It's about having a deep conviction in what you believe and being able to communicate that.
Like Steve Jobs, right.
Exactly.
He had that ability to get people excited about Apple.
He was a master storyteller.
Yeah, he was.
But Thiel also warns about founder worship,
Ah, right. It can't be a cult of personality.
You need to build strong teams.
So even if you have a visionary leader, you still need a solid team to make it happen.
Precisely.
So we've talked about thinking differently, finding monopolies, building teams, finding those secrets. Where does this all lead? Big picture.
That's where Thiel dives into this idea of stagnation or singularity.
Okay, lay it on me. What are the options?
He outlines 4 possible scenarios for the future of tech progress.
All right, I'm all ears. What are Thiel's 4 possible futures?
Well, the first one is definite optimism.
Definite optimism, okay.
To keep making those big technological leaps, creating a future that's way better than today.
It's the one we're all hoping for, right?
It's the one Thiel sees most hopeful for.
Yeah.
But he's not, naive about the challenges.
Of course not.
There are a lot of things that have to go right.
Right, we're talking like solving major diseases, clean energy.
Maybe even colonizing Mars.
Sign me up for that.
Right.
But it feels like a lot has to go right to get there.
It does.
Okay, so that's definite optimism.
Mm-hmm.
What's the second scenario?
The second one is indefinite optimism.
Indefinite optimism, okay.
This is where we believe the future is going to be better.
Okay.
But we don't really have a concrete plan to get there.
So it's more like it'll all work out somehow, right?
Yeah, and Thiel's pretty critical of this mindset.
Why is that?
He calls it a form of wishful thinking.
Oh, I see. So it's not enough to just hope for the best.
I am.
You have to actually have a plan to make it happen.
You do.
Okay, I can see that.
He says indefinite optimism, it leads to complacency,
Right.
a lack of direction.
We become passengers, not drivers.
Exactly.
All right, so we've got the two optimistic scenarios.
Right.
What about the pessimistic ones?
Well, the third one is definite pessimism.
Definite pessimism, so we're talking about a future that's worse than the present.
Yeah, where we're kind of hunkering down, preparing for decline.
That's a pretty bleak outlook.
It is.
Why does Thiel include this as a possibility?
He sees it as a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Oh, interesting.
If we're convinced the future is bleak, we're less likely to take those risks, those bold moves that might actually create a better one.
It's like that saying, whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right.
Exactly. Pessimism, it can be paralyzing.
Blinding us to the opportunities that might still be out there.
Exactly.
Okay, so that leaves us with the fourth and final scenario.
The fourth one is indefinite pessimism.
Indefinite pessimism, so we're not even sure if the future will be better or worse.
Right. We just think it's uncertain and that we're powerless to change it.
That sounds like just being realistic, you know?
Maybe, but Thiel sees this as the most dangerous of all.
Really? Why is that?
He argues that it leads to hopelessness, resignation.
We give up.
We do. We give up on trying to shape the future.
So it's not just about recognizing the uncertainties, it's about believing we can't do anything about them.
Exactly. And that leads to inaction, apathy.
Okay, I see his point.
Now, while Thiel doesn't come out and say which scenario he thinks is most likely,
he
does seem to lean towards definite optimism.
Okay, so he believes we have the power to influence the future.
He does, through our choices, our actions.
And he even brings up this idea of the singularity.
He does.
Okay, for those of us who aren't, like, sci-fi experts,
Yeah.
Can you explain what the singularity is and why Thiel thinks it matters?
Sure, the singularity, it's this hypothetical point in time.
Okay.
Where technological progress, it accelerates so rapidly that it becomes impossible to predict what happens next.
Okay, so, like, AI surpasses human intelligence.
Yeah, leading to all sorts of breakthroughs.
It's exciting and terrifying all at the same time.
Exactly.
So is Thiel pro-singularity or anti-singularity?
He sees it as both a threat and an opportunity. You know,
Okay.
It could lead to this amazing utopian future.
Disease is eradicated, poverty solved.
Yeah, or it could lead to a dystopia where machines rule and humans become obsolete.
The classic sci-fi dilemma.
Right, and he doesn't give us easy answers.
Of course not. This is Thiel we're talking about.
He's challenging us to think about these potential futures and our role in shaping them.
So we're not just along for the ride.
We're not. We have agency, we have choices to make.
Okay, so those are the big picture scenarios.
Yeah.
What about some key takeaways from 0 to 1 that we can apply right now?
Well, first and foremost, Thiel, he really urges us to challenge conventional wisdom.
Don't just accept the status quo.
No. Look for those unconventional truths.
Find the things that people are missing.
Exactly.
So embrace that contrarian mindset.
Yeah, question everything.
Look for opportunities where others see obstacles.
Precisely. He also stresses the importance of building companies that create new value.
Those 0 to 1 companies, the ones solving big problems.
Exactly. Don't just iterate, create something new.
Okay, so be bold, be ambitious.
Be bold. And don't forget about distribution.
Right, we talked about that.
Find the right channel for your product and go all in.
Focus your energy.
Yes?
What about the human element? All this tech, are we just becoming robots ourselves?
Thiel reminds us that technology should be a tool to empower people.
Not replace them.
Exactly. The most valuable businesses of the future, they'll find ways to augment human capabilities.
That human-machine collaboration.
Yes. And finally, he emphasizes the importance of building a strong team.
We've talked about this.
We have. Surround yourself with people who share your vision, who push you to be better, who are committed to the company's success.
Find your tribe.
Exactly.
Now, I want to go back to the power law for a second.
Okay.
It seems like it's really central to a lot of Thiel's thinking.
It is.
It challenges our assumptions about success.
How so?
Well, we often think success is linear, right? Work hard, follow the rules, climb the ladder.
Yeah.
But Thiel's saying, no, it's not that simple.
It's not. In reality, success is often distributed very unevenly.
So it's not just about putting in the effort.
No, it's about recognizing where the biggest rewards are.
Where the power law is working in your favor.
Precisely.
So work smart, not just hard.
Exactly. And that's where secrets become even more crucial.
Right, you need that edge.
If you're seeking those areas of outsized return, you got to be looking for those unconventional insights.
No, if you're just starting your career,
Yeah.
how do you apply these principles? The power law, secrets, all that.
Well, first, figure out what you're really good at.
Play to your strengths.
Exactly. And what you enjoy doing. Then start digging for secrets in those areas.
Become a student of your craft.
Yes.
Look for the things people are missing.
Challenge the conventional wisdom. Ask questions, experiment, and remember, timing is key.
Thiel talks a lot about timing.
He does. You can have the best idea in the world.
But if the timing's off,
It's likely to fail.
be patient, wait for the right opportunity.
Exactly. And be adaptable. Don't be afraid to change your plans as things change.
Okay, all this talk about secrets, it sounds a little, I don't know.
Mystical.
Yeah, like we're all searching for the Holy Grail or something.
Well, Thiel does offer some practical advice.
Okay, good, because I need some actionable tips here.
One suggestion is to look for areas where conventional wisdom is just plain wrong.
Give me an example.
He uses the efficient market hypothesis.
The what?
It's the idea that stock prices reflect all available information, so you can't beat the market.
Okay.
But Thiel says it's demonstrably false.
So there are opportunities to find mispriced assets.
There are. And those opportunities, they're often found in areas that are overlooked.
Where the crowd isn't looking.
Exactly. What else can we do to find these secrets? Talk to people.
Get out there, network.
Yes. Talk to experts, but don't just accept what they say at face value.
Dig deeper.
Yes. Challenge their assumptions. Look for those nuggets of insight they might not even be aware of.
Be curious.
Be curious. Be open to new ideas, even if they sound strange at first.
Okay, I like this advice, but
What?
it still feels like we're talking about a very small percentage of people who actually find these, like, game-changing secrets.
I get your skepticism.
Yeah.
And Thiel acknowledges that, not all secrets are created equal. But he argues there's still so many out there.
So it's not a zero-sum game.
It's not. There's an abundance of knowledge, of opportunity.
So it's about having that growth mindset.
Exactly. Believing there's always more to learn.
Okay, that's the big picture stuff.
Yeah.
What about the nitty-gritty, the practical advice for building a company?
Well, he starts with a clear mission.
Your company needs to stand for something.
It does.
More than just making money.
It's about making a difference.
Okay. And to achieve that mission, you need the right people.
You do. A stellar team.
People who are smarter than you, who push you.
Who are committed to that purpose.
And they need to be working on a great product, right?
They do. A product that's 10 times better than the competition.
That's a high bar.
It is. But Thiel believes incremental improvements, they're not enough.
So be bold, aim high.
Exactly. Now, this might sound contradictory.
Ow, so.
Well, we talked about building a monopoly, right?
Right, avoiding competition.
But how do you strive to be 10 times better while also avoiding competition?
Yeah, that doesn't make sense.
Well, Thiel argues that competition is often overrated,
Okay.
that it can distract you from building something truly innovative.
So how do you build a monopoly without competing?
Thiel says that all happy companies are different.
Different.
Yeah, they earn a monopoly by solving a unique problem.
So it's not about crushing the competition.
No, it's about making them irrelevant.
By offering something so much better.
Exactly.
Okay, so you've found your niche, built your amazing product. Now what?
Now you need to think about durability.
Durability.
Building a company that can last, that's adaptable.
Right, because the world is constantly changing.
It is. And Thiel argues that durability, it's often overlooked in the startup world.
Where the focus is on, like, rapid growth.
Exactly. Short-term gains.
So how do you build a company that can weather the storms?
Well, Thiel emphasizes having a long-term vision.
Think decades, not quarters.
Exactly. And build a culture of continuous innovation.
Always be learning.
Always be learning. And don't forget about relationships.
Ah, the PayPal mafia concept.
Right. Strong networks.
So why are these relationships so important from a business perspective?
Well, strong relationships, they help you attract and retain talent.
People want to work with people they like and respect.
Exactly. And it's crucial for fundraising.
Investors want to back people they believe in.
Right. And sales and marketing, word of mouth is powerful.
It all comes back to trust.
It does. Trust is essential for any successful business.
Okay, so relationships are key, both inside and outside the company.
They are. They're a form of capital, just as valuable as financial capital.
So network like your company's life depends on it.
Exactly. Now, you asked about building a product people love.
I did. It's not easy.
It's not. Thiel starts with solving a real problem.
It has to make people's lives better.
It does, and it needs to be simple, easy to use.
People hate complicated stuff.
They do. Complexity is the enemy of good design.
So intuitive, effortless to use.
He calls it the "it just works" magic.
I like that.
But it can't just be functional. It has to be delightful, too.
Ah, the Apple approach.
Exactly. Thiel says the best products, they create an emotional connection with the user.
They make you feel something.
They do.
Okay, so how do you build a product that's useful, beautiful, intuitive, and delightful all at the same time?
Well, he suggests focusing on the user experience first and foremost.
Really understand your users.
Yes. What are their pain points? What emotions are you trying to evoke?
And prototype early and often.
Yes. Get feedback, iterate, refine.
Make sure it's actually solving the problem it's supposed to solve.
Exactly. And be data-driven. Use data to track user behavior, identify areas for improvement.
Okay, that all makes sense.
Yeah.
But I want to circle back to that idea of creating a product that's 10 times better.
It's a tall order.
It is. How do you even begin to think about creating something that much better than everything else?
Thiel says the key is innovation, not imitation.
Don't just copy what's already out there.
Exactly. Be willing to break the rules, create something truly new.
Be a pioneer.
Yes. And to do that, you need a unique insight.
That secret we talked about.
Exactly.
Okay, so you've got your killer product, your game-changing innovation.
Yeah.
How do you make sure the business itself is sustainable?
That's where durability comes back in.
Building a company that can last.
Right, that can withstand the ups and downs.
Because there will be ups and downs.
Always. And Thiel argues that a lot of startups, they overlook this.
They're so focused on the short term.
They are, on growth, on exits.
But you need to build something with strong foundations.
Yeah.
A business model that can stand the test of time.
He says, don't build a house of cards.
Build a fortress.
Exactly. And don't get so lost in the day-to-day that you lose sight of the long-term vision.
Right. Think about where you want to be in 10, 20 years.
Exactly.
Okay, we've covered a lot of ground.
We have.
But I want to bring it back to that question Thiel asks at the beginning of the book.
The one about important truths.
Yes. What important truth do very few people agree with you on? What's your answer?
Oh, that's a tough one.
Take your time.
I think, for me, a truth that I really hold on to is that the future isn't predetermined.
Okay.
We have the power to shape it through our choices, our actions.
That's a powerful belief.
It is.
And it aligns with what Thiel's saying.
It does.
We're not just passengers, we're the pilots.
Exactly. We have the power to choose our destination.
So if we want a better future,
Yeah.
we have to believe it's possible.
We do.
Challenge the status quo, think differently, take action.
Exactly.
And I think 0 to 1 gives us a framework for doing that.
I agree.
This has been an incredible conversation.
Yes.
So many great ideas.
Yeah.
But before we wrap up,
Yeah.
if you could give one piece of advice to someone starting a company today,
One piece of advice.
what would it be?
Find a problem you're truly passionate about solving
Okay.
and build a team of people who are equally passionate about solving it.
So it's not just about building a business.
No, it's about building something you believe in.
That makes a difference.
Exactly.
Great advice.
Thank you.
Okay, I think we've thoroughly unpacked Peter Thiel's 0 to 1.
I think so too.
Contrarian thinking, monopolies, power laws, building those lasting companies.
We covered a lot.
We did, but the core message, I think, is that if we want a better future,
Yeah.
we need to think differently.
We do.
Challenge the status quo, build those companies that take us from 0 to 1.
Absolutely.
And to our listeners, we challenge you. What's your important truth? That thing you see, even if no one else does. Maybe it's the next Google, the next Tesla.
Or just something that makes the world a little bit better.
Exactly. Don't be afraid to embrace it, explore it, share it.
It's those unique perspectives that have the power to change everything.
This deep dive has been a journey.
That has.
We hope you found it insightful, inspiring.
And maybe a little bit challenging.
Until next time, keep digging for those secrets, keep building, and keep striving for a better future.
We'll see you next time.
It's like he's saying, go out there, find those hidden truths, and don't be afraid to be the only one who sees them.
Right, exactly. He's encouraging us to be those contrarians, those independent thinkers who are willing to see the world differently.
He's definitely not afraid to challenge the status quo.
Not at all.
Yeah.
And that's what makes his ideas so refreshing, even if they're a little bit, well, out there sometimes.
Yeah, he's definitely not afraid to ruffle some feathers.
No. But that's what it takes to create real change, to break free from those conventional ways of thinking.
This deep dive has been a wild ride.
It has. We've gone from the dot-com bubble to the singularity, from the power law to the PayPal mafia.
And all those secrets hiding in plain sight.
It's a lot to wrap your head around.
It is, but I think the core message is this. If we want a better future,
Yeah.
we have to be the ones to build it.
We can't just sit back and wait for it to happen.
We have to be proactive, take risks, challenge assumptions.
And build those companies that are going to make a real difference.
So, to our listeners, we ask you, what's that one important truth that you believe in, even if no one else does?
What's that unconventional idea that keeps you up at night, that makes you want to change the world?
Don't be afraid to explore it, to share it, to build something amazing around it.
Because who knows, maybe your crazy idea is the one that changes everything.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into Peter Thiel's 0 to 1.
It's been a pleasure exploring these ideas with you,
Likewise, we hope you found it as thought-provoking as we did.
and that you'll join us next time for another fascinating exploration of ideas that are shaping the future.
Until then, keep thinking big, keep challenging the status quo, and keep building those companies that are going to take us from 0 to 1.
See you next time.